Hey guys, happy Friday. Today we're going to be talking about how much money weed actually makes the country. But first, before we dive into the actual stories of today, just a quick update on the federal bill by Chuck Schumer. I keep on coming back to this, but yet again, he has delayed the bill. It's not coming out this month. It's now coming out sometime before August, whatever that means. And my guess is the reasoning for this is because they just don't have the votes, and it would kind of be embarrassing if they introduced it to the Senate right now in its current form. So they're gonna, give themselves some more time and try to get some more votes. Move on from that stuff. I'm kind of done talking about that for a while. First story is pretty cool. The DEA has come out saying that because of the amount of marijuana being grown in the US, because of all of the legal marijuana being grown in the US, there has been less smuggling from Mexico through the border. That's kind of a trend that I think most people expected to be the case from legal marijuana, but it's just nice to see the DEA of all places actually admitting that this is the case, and this is the case more and more. There have been concerns that the illicit market is actually kind of gaining steam because of the priciness of marijuana and a tax rate around it, but this is showing that the dangerous stuff that is being made by cartels and coming into the US, that stuff is kind of actually dwindling because of this. Maybe they're going to fentanyl, maybe they're going to other things instead, but still, it's cutting off part of the tail. Instead of the head, it's cutting off part of the tail, which is something. It's some progress. And now a story out of Virginia. Virginia is kind of an interesting state when it comes to marijuana legalization because they have a governor who was elected after it was legalized in the state, or after it was on the process of legalization in the state. And when this election was happening, people were unsure of what this governor was going to do when he got into office. Someone who's clearly opposing of legal marijuana. Were they going to make the process harder? Were they going to kind of strip the process entirely? Is that even legal to do? We're now kind of starting to see some actions from this governor, Glenn Youngkin from Virginia, where we hear a lot of the idea of decriminalization, but now from Virginia, and this may be a case in other states as well, we're hearing of recriminalization, which is essentially making it a crime again to possess over 2 ounces of marijuana. So before we get into that, there are a couple things that he's doing. One thing is fine. He's making it illegal for somebody under the age of 21 to buy hemp that has Delta 8, which is one of the more controversial parts of hemp because it can get you high. It has THC, and so a lot of people have been banning it across the country because of this. This is okay, like to say that people under the age of 21 cannot buy Delta 8 hemp. So that makes sense. It's totally understandable. The other part, the recriminalization part of this thing that he just signed, is making it a class 2 misdemeanor for you to be possessing over 2 ounces of marijuana. It's punishable up to 6 months in jail and or a $1,000 fine. Then if you're possessing over 6 ounces of marijuana, it is punishable of a year in jail or $2,500 in a fine. Yeah, this is essentially kind of taking Virginia back a step, making it criminal to have too much marijuana. And there's questions of like, what about wholesale? What about people who need the marijuana in their businesses so they are getting a lot of marijuana? Are they exempt? There are a lot of questions around this. In total, we're starting to see kind of some of the fears happen that we had when Youngkin was elected. Hopefully this is the end of the road. Hopefully he's not going to strip any other power away from marijuana, but as of now, this is kind of a bummer in Virginia. And finally, the story that it kind of gives a little bit of hope, a glimmer of hope to all of us, is that marijuana is so freaking profitable for the country. And it's because we can look at the tax revenue, we can look at the sales revenue in each state, but it's so much bigger than that. There are so many things that happen because of marijuana sales. For instance, Colorado is a state that is doing really well because of the amount of marijuana legalization they have in that state, because of the way it's kind of a part of the economy. People go to Denver so they can smoke marijuana. My parents did that. There are a lot of people who do that. So when it comes to how much money states make from marijuana, it's a lot bigger than just tax revenue and sales revenue. And that's what MJ Biz Daily has done. They've kind of projected how much money marijuana is making this year, 2022, and they've come to the figure of $99 billion, which is really striking. Even taking that with a little bit of grain of salt, even saying, well, I don't trust your projections because you're a little bit biased in the game here. Still, take that down to 90 billion, take that down to 80 billion. Still a lot of money that is being made from marijuana. And they have projected all the way up to 2026. And here's a little graph showing how each of these are going. So at 2021, we're at 81 billion, then it skyrocketed up to 99 billion this year. And then by 2026, we're gonna hit $157 billion coming from the cannabis industry. Pretty amazing stuff. And it's only a matter of time for people to kind of see green and want this to be a part of every single state, because it is really changing your budget for your state when you legalize marijuana. It's really affecting things. And a lot of these Republican holdouts, unfortunately, the way they'll come around to it is probably because of the amount of money that they'll make by doing this. And it'll look good for them. It'll look really good for them. Yeah, and that's kind of the stories today. It is New Music Friday. It's not a great New Music Friday. However, there's one album that I'm kind of excited about. Kurt Vile put out a new album. It's called Watch My Moves, lowercase in parentheses. And it is, Kurt Vile is an interesting artist because he's at the point now in his career where he's not trying to make any new fans. You're not gonna hear a new one and like fall in love with Kurt Vile. If you're a fan of Kurt Vile, you're gonna be a fan of Kurt Vile because he creates the same kind of stuff every time, and it's very lazy, chill out indie rock that he just seems to be having fun creating. He's from Kensington, Philadelphia, which is cool because I'm from Philadelphia area, and he just gives off a vibe of like, yeah, let's just all hang out and make some music. And this album pretty much does that better than any of his other albums, which is really, really fun to put on and just like chill. So Kurt Vile, Watch My Moves, it's a cool album. It's a long one, it's 15 songs, over an hour long, but I think you'll enjoy it once you find the rhythm of the whole thing. And that's that. We will be back next week. It's a big week because it is 420 on Wednesday, so we'll have a show then, and we'll kind of celebrate 420. I'll see you then.